What's good, YouTube land? That Word Collector here. Let's do more Ultraman with Ultraman Taiga, Taiga Spark. The transformation device of Ultraman Taiga, Ultraman Titus, and nope, that's Fuma. That's Titus, and that, yep, Ultraman Fuma. And there's something that really catches my eye about this box art. I think it's the fact that Taiga is looking at us with that cheeky smile, because most Ultraman, their mouth is molded to be like more somber, like not really expressionless. Like, can I give a good example? Let's see, Orb, right there. Orb Space Seems Apparent. His mouth is molded to be more flat, kind of neutral. But the fact that Taiga is looking at it, it's like, yep, you bought this. It's the little upturned smile that gets me. I don't know what it is. Well, I know what it is. It's that, but I don't know what about that really gets to me. But you have the things included in the box. The Taiga Spark. Same picture up there. A picture of Ultraman Taiga right there. Another picture of Ultraman Taiga. And on the back, you have your obligatory product shots with your Sad Pac-Man. Let's get it open. Oh, also in flap, you have a one of those. You actually have one on each side. Down the bottom, not much. So to me, oh yeah, this. I'll show you this card. This will pay importance in a second. Because to me, Taiga is quite an interesting idea. So here's the Spark. Here's his main transformation item. Here's it's a let. It's a bracelet. So, and here are the two straps. So, what I mean about that image being prevalent is Taiga is, in Ultraman lore, the first grandchild of an Ultra, in the history of them. So, those two, there were three characters there I showed you. Two of them are called father and mother of Ultra. They are not the father and mother of every single Ultraman, but they are the mother and father naturally, meaning you know exactly what that means, of Ultraman Taro, who's one of the original 6 brothers with Ultraman, Jack, Ace. Well, I say 6. That it's an ever-expanding number, but Ultraman, Jack, Ace, Zophie, Taro, Leo, and Ultra 7. The Ultra Brothers. I know it's Ultraman. I don't really know if Jack and Zophie really like. No, they definitely do. But I think that's the original 7. So they are the mother and father of Taro, who eventually made Ultraman Taiga. I don't believe he. Just like Zero, I believe Taiga. No, I believe Zero and Taiga are both half. So Ultraman father, because there really, when you look at it, there are not very many female Ultra women. There's Mother of Ultra. From Rube, there's Ultraman Grige. I forget her name. Grija something. Hold on. I can look this up quickly. I think it's Grigio is how her name. Hold on. Yeah, Grigio. So there are not very many females. It's spelled Grigio. Grigio. But so I think I'm not 100% certain because I'm not fully up on my Ultraman lore, but Zero and Taiga probably are born from an Ultraman father, and probably when they were in the host of that of they were a person was hosting them, they formed a kid with probably a human, possibly a human woman. So it makes it's a long rambling story. I also really like just Taiga's head design in general, like the triple fins are very reminiscent of his bloodline, given Taro's own head crests. And if you look, like, just look at this picture of, look at Father of Ultra. Look at his gigantic coming out the horns coming out the sides of his face, and I father, yeah, even mother. She has smaller head crest folding down, but yeah, funny enough, uh, Father of Ultra's actual name is Ken, and Mother of Ultra's name is not Barbie. If you were insinuating that, it's um, I looked it up because Bellio calls him. What was her proper name? Or not her proper name. She's also referred to as the Lady in Green. Oh, right. The mother and father also adopted Ultra Seven. Oh no, they adopted Ace because uh, Mother of Ultra's sister is the mother of Seven. It is quite a circle. Yeah, they adopted Ace, so Seven is their nephew. Seven's father, blah blah blah. Zero is their grandnephew. Jack is considered a brother-in-law. Like, uh, where's? Oh, her name is Marie. But that's enough rambling about. That's over 8 minutes about rambling about Ultraman backstory. And we, well, actually want to keep talking about uh, his Ultraman Taiga's backstory as it relates to these things. So to me, Taiga is very similar to Ultraman Ginga. While they're both considered in the new generation, they kind of use their powers in a similar way. They both have a transformation device that doesn't rely on other Ultraman's powers, which a lot of the new generation rely on previous Ultraman powers. The main difference, oh, and they also have small amounts of blue in their outfit. Ginga having more blue, but there are visual similarities. Uh, Ginga uses the Heisei era Ultraman for his powers, his attacks, his power up form, the Storium Embrace, which is from Taro. So again, relating. But Taiga uses the new generation powers. So everyone past Ginga, Victory, X, Orb, Jeed, Rube, all those powers for his attacks. And he also borrows thematically from X and Victory again, using monster powers for attacks as well. Not armor like Gingo, or not armor like Victory or X, but like using the kaiju they fight to power his attacks. I'm gonna grab something that I forgot to grab, but this is the Taiga Spark, and it definitely reminds me of older Ultraman transformation devices, harkening back to, let's give a more modern reference, Hikari and Mebius, who both use wrist-mounted transformation devices, or for later, I think earlier, no, all Heisei. The only ones to use braces are in the Heisei era, because Agia and Gaia are the other two I'm thinking of. But it's very much in spirit of those, because it's a lot simpler transformation device. It just, it's not something you grab and then you know what I mean. It's more reminiscent of the older era's transformation devices, because some of the old Ultraman transformation devices were pretty weird. Best example I can give, I think it's Zayarth, who I'm not sure whether he's meant to be a parody or not, but he transforms by sticking a toothbrush in his mouth and going while chanting, "I can do it, I can do it," and then transforming. Like he spins his head like this way faster than a human body could ever move their head. Like this makes me dizzy, but it's going so like it's going so freaking fast. But mhm. I really like this idea for a transformation device, because I'm always a fan of wrist mounted Power Ranger morphers. So this guy gives me a very similar vibe in that way. I'll attach to my wrist. An adult can wear this. I'll show you. When I first got out of the box, while I haven't watched Taiga yet, I've seen some of his stuff. For some reason, my mind wanted to put it here. Maybe it's my experience with Power Ranger wrist morphers normally being right here, but this is not where you're designed to wear it. This is where it's actually designed to be worn properly, and it actually has a hinge to uh, reflect that, so it actually moves with your wrist, so it never really gets in the way. It does limit wrist mobility a tiny bit, but not so much that it'd be annoying. And also, this place right here, the orb in the middle, which not only is the symbol of Taiga's uh, indicator, because I don't know if I've talked about the chest light indicators, but just for a brief rundown, if this is your first Ultraman review, the chest light indicator indicates basically how much time they have to fight, because they're giant. Like Ultraman being aliens, can't really survive for very long on planets of either negative energy, because they are beings of positive energy, they're beings of light, given humanoid alien form, and they also can't survive very long on Earth. Also, just the nature of the type of show this is, they're not going to fight for very long. Unlike, say, Kamen Rider Super Sentai, who can have a long battle, Ultraman are specifically designed not to have a long battle. So the light will stay blue until roughly they have enough power for roughly 3 minutes left. At like when they have loosely 3 minutes left, because it can be stretched really long or really short depending on the plot. It'll start flashing red, indicating, oh, they're running out of power. It'll blink a lot faster red when they're that much closer to death, because when it stops, they basically die. They can be revived in the land of the light, their homeworld, but they basically at that time they can't fight anymore. Or it won't kill them, like, here's the thing. If they're joined to a host, it won't kill them. It'll revert them back to that host. But if they're, say, fighting in a battle in space on a planet and it starts flashing red and it stops, they are basically dead until they get revived. In fact, the Ultraman, being beings of light, have actually brought humans to the land of light to revive them, to unite them with a human, such as what happened again with Taiga's father, Ultraman Taro, who's human host. Because Ultramen have the thing where they bond with humans who are basically dead. They're caught in a monster battle or a building falls, something like that, and they unite with them because they're weak. They're weakened being on Earth, and the person is weak, so they need to, by uniting with them, they help bring them back to life, basically, and give them powers to be able to transform. And also, due to plot, the material and the transformation devices the Ultramen use are invisible to the naked eye of any human who's not merged with an Ultraman, being good or bad. Which explains how some of the more bulkier things don't get questioned by people, because technically they can't see them. We can see them because, you know, we're the people watching at home. But I like the design. I like there's a small amount of paint app on this. It's predominantly this gunmetal gray plastic, but there's also a translucent piece right down there for light. But it's gold, red, and silver. It's a very simple combination, very on brand. Although the gunmetal gray is very unusual, like darker grays are unusual for Ultraman. They're slightly more common in the new generation, but they're generally the darker colors are associated with villains, Belial, Tragear, all that kind of stuff. So the battery pack is right there. Push in that little indent, and there's the on-off switch. Turn it on. Again, give you a show of that. Very bright light. That's our light down there. Now this thing has a scanner in it. That's how it detects transformation devices in the power and the attack items. It's basically right in here, and it goes both ways. So if you're wearing this, or you don't want to wear it, you can. In the show, he holds it in his hand, as you'll see, but you can also rest it on top. It also has a bit of a crystalline structure design, which is unusual in Ultraman. It's a lot similar to the bug-eyed design of Kamen Rider helmets, because most Ultraman, while they have like Taiga's eyes are rare in the fact that they're more crystalline structure, where most Ultraman are just flat, the one color, they don't really have any texture. Or if you're Taro, you have your freaking pupils in the corners of your eyes, which is weird. Well, and just weird, creepy. So we also have the two bracelet pieces. So the thin one, I don't think it matters which way it goes in, this way or this way. But I'm just gonna do it like this. It goes basically. I don't even think it matters which way you insert it. But as long as you just get the thin one, put it up top, and just kind of flex the plastic until it's set, because it's really not gonna go in any other way. Hold on. It kind of curled up a bit. Yeah, you just kind of have to force it, because it's really, there's no other way to do it from what I see. So that's one side. You got the thicker strap for the base. Mm. I'm just going to do them the same way just to... And this one goes down here and much the same. You just slide it in until it goes. And then put the small strap in your palm. I put it this way because the other material, the adhesive, I don't want scratching against my palm. That's going to be really annoying, especially for long-term play. And then make sure it's lined up properly. And that's what you're going to do. So you heard me not accidentally, but forget that it was turned on. So the way you activate is this piece is a separate piece, so you have to pull it down, and it starts doing this. So let's talk about the transformation item. The best way I can describe these is a keychain. It's this part of a keychain. Well, actually, it's a full keychain, but the top part, the key is the body. The keychain is right there, and I absolutely, I love that. But unfortunately, like, if you ever come across me on the street randomly, I'm most likely spinning my keys. Like if I'm anywhere close to home, I'll take them off my belt loops and just start spinning them because it's one of my favorite things to do. I could literally do this for freaking as long as my arm can hold it. It's not even really something I actually like. I can sort of do it on my right hand. I'm a natural lefty, but it's not really something I consciously do. Like I'll consciously grab my I'll subconsciously just grab my keys and start flicking. I'm like I won't even. But unfortunately, given these are scaled for kids, you can't really do that here. You can barely get a pinky in, but that that blue orb right there is what the device scans. So you hold it like this. You'll see how kind of silly the transformation call is in a second, because I'm going to do it. But you also, in the top, have molded in Taiga's head with no paint. No paint. And these pieces here kind of resemble his chest armor. Oh, there's also a dab of red down there. On the back, solid gray, nothing. So, Ikse, Taiga! Body, go! I did off stream. That is literally his transformation call when holding it up to the air and going, Buddy, go! And yes, it is silly, but I kind of don't mind. It's a lot simpler than most other Ultraman's transformation calls, like in the new generation. Aside from, say, Ginga Victory and X, who all have this kind of simple transformation call. Like Orb, G, Rube, everyone has kind of a long, drawn out transformation call. So going from like a Hikai no Chikara Okai Shimasu to Buddy Go. I don't want to say it's kind of refreshing, but it is kind of a little bit of a nice change of pace. Although we'll be going back to that long transformation next time when we eventually cover the Z Riser, which I do have on the way. So that's pretty much it. Very much like the old school transformation devices, you get one just noise and light show. But you do actually have a final attack you can do with if you scan this again. Sodium Blaster! I didn't do this thing, but Sodium Blaster! That's my one regret with this toy, is that it doesn't actually call out the attack name. It doesn't say Sodium Blaster. It's just implied. Because that is Taiga's final attack. The variation of his old man's Storium Koze, which literally translates as Storium Beam, because they don't have an English translation of Storium. So Storium. So that's for the transformation. You also get this, the attack item. This is the orblet, or bracelet, short for bracelet. And it is actually a bracelet. It is a very small bracelet, given it's designed for Japanese children. But I actually, with enough force and not as much worrying about the plastic breaking, as I probably should be, I can, not comfortably, but I can technically wear it. I just kind of have to finagle it around and just like massage it over my wrist. But yeah, as I said, not comfortably. I don't have like a small wrist, but I don't have a huge wrist. Somewhere in the middle, and I have to keep. I'm trying to get it straight. There you go. That's the closest I'm gonna get it, and it is pinching on my bone. I'll say that. So these are his attack. He has two different attack items: the orb, the bracelets or the lets, and kaiju rings. So this item doesn't come with kaiju rings, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Now to do attack with this one, you would hold it up and it would appear on your wrist. But here, we'll do a proper. What was this? Spacium Blaster! I forget if he does it here or here, but his orb attack is the Spacium Blaster. So that's everything. After a while, it does actually revert back to the transformation. So it resets, so you can do it. I don't know. Let me check if you can actually do the attack more than once. No, you can't. It immediately recycles to the transformation. Okay. So that would be it. But there was one thing I noticed about this, and it's something only somebody who probably plays with a lot of Bandai toys will notice. This will not. People will notice this, but this comes off. If look on the bracelet, look at the size. Let's say you're a fan of Kamen Rider Wizard. Much like myself, you collected a bunch of wizard rings. Maybe you'll notice a pattern here that these things use the exact same size. Because it's Bandai making both toys, and they've made kaiju rings, they made them the exact same way. Here's what I'm getting at. You could turn a wizard ring into a bracelet, or you can turn an orb, for example, this is you could turn a bracelet into a ring. Here I am wearing two different companies made by the same toy manufacturer. It's kind of hilarious. And we're gonna mess. The only unfortunate thing is you'll see there on the ring there's a little nub right there, and on the bracelet there isn't. It's to correspond with what's inside the item. So here there's a nub, fits in the hole. On the rings there's a hole, fits on the nub. When you put the two nubs together, they do work. It's just there's a click. Oh, and I've just noticed the actual sort of orblet is kind of. I don't know if it's falling apart, but it looks like it's kind of pinned. Other than the two screws there, it looks like there's a kind of piece holding the corners right there that looked like it was coming off. So I don't know about. It's kind of a little. I don't like the click lock, but you kind of see it right there. It looks like the parts are separating. But yeah, okay. I'm not gonna do that too often, but here, let's do this. It it doesn't. It'll activate the LED feature in here, but not much else because this and the Wizard Driver work slightly different. I imagine there's something in here in that actually connects to the Taiga Spark to indicate which let you're using. So it has a piece, and the Wizard Ring does have a similar thing to connect to the Wizard Driver, but they don't work the same way. So there's no real cross compatibility other than you can see the light. It activates the LED feature. I wonder if you can if I think O's has a similar thing for the metals. So I wonder if you could do this kind of thing, if it would actually get an activation out of this if you use an O's metal. But yeah, that's pinching right there. That's not the most comfortable thing. So final thoughts. I really like this thing. Well, I can turn it off. Yeah, there we go. This is probably my favorite transformation device so far. Mostly based on my experience as a fan of wrist morphers, my experience with wrist morphers. I love the idea of a wrist mounted transformation device because it's a lot more. Well, it's not completely subtle. It is quite a bit more subtle than magically pulling out of a pocket dimension uh, a scanning device and scanning ultra capsules. Because the thing is, behind Jeed's loader, it's also a communication device, so it connects him to his home base. So it makes sense to be wearing that constantly. But the Jeed riser, he just pulls out of thin air, and the ultra capsules he pulls out of thin air. Orb also has a card holder, but he pulls his orb ring out of thin air. So having it actually like wearing, and even if you're not wearing it, like even if it disappears through the wormhole technology and just appears on your wrist whenever you want, like Hikari does. I haven't watched Taiga, and we'll talk about that in a second. I'm actually going to bring that point up. But yeah, I like having a wrist mounted transformation device, and it's very simple. But to some people, that might be the critical flaw of this. So here's the thing: the Taiga toy line is very small. Doing my research, there's so a little bit of behind on Taiga. Not normally, Ultraman have quite a few forms in the new generation. They get like abundance of forms they can access. Jeed, even in the show, had 4 or 5 forms. Well, he had four power ups besides his base form, and then he got a form in the movie. Orb has very much the same thing. Rube have the same thing between the two. Taiga has two power up forms. Two. Again, very similar to Ginga, because Ginga has Ginga Stodium using the power of Taro, and he has Ginga Victory merging with Ultraman Victory, who himself only has one power up outside of Ginga Victory, so they both have two technically. Taiga as well only has two forms. The rest of the toy line is brought up by the fact that he's accompanied by two teammates. So I have watched episode 0 of Ultraman Taiga. It's the only episode I've watched where he has two friends, and all three of them get killed in battle, and they have to like basically killed. It's the way it looks as if they die, but they end up having to. All three of them have to fuse with the host. So instead of giving Taiga abundance of like say 4 or 5 forms, they put out the rest of the toy line for you can transform into 2 different Ultraman, as seen on the box. Ultraman Titus in the bottom there, and Ultraman Fuma. I dare you to look this up on YouTube. Go in that search bar. And the funniest thing I've seen about Taiga, by far, is as Ultraman Titus, he was fighting an enemy who perceived immortal, who's like a former enemy of Orb, all this stuff, that doesn't matter. The guy's firing lasers at him, and Titus, excuse me, is the power type of the trio. So he's blocking them without them affecting him. He blocks one with his butt cheek. It literally it bounced it the projectile hits him in the ass and it bounces off like it's a little energy, like a little cylinder, like a stick. It bounces off his ass. It's just oh frickin' I love you, Ultraman Titus. God damn. Like seriously, go search bar wherever the search bar is. I think it's up here. Go look that footage up. It is just hilarious. So yeah, the toy line is very short. There's this. There's two the keys for Titus and Fuma. A bigger key, a power up key, and then one other item to transform into his final form. And then all there is 4 sets of these. So it's a very short toy line. And personally, after feeling exhausted from Kamen Rider toy lines and the fact that the G toy line has so many Ultra capsules, probably given like at least 5 sets, plus the sword and the the Giga Finalizer, which I don't have yet, and the Orb toy line being so hard to find, being just cards, it is very refreshing to look at a toy line and say, yeah, I can complete that pretty quickly. But I highly recommend this. If you're looking at Ultraman toys to collect, and you don't want to go in a big toy line like Orb or Jeed, or God forbid the Spark dolls like for Ginga Victory and X, I suggest going this way because it can be a very short toy line. You can complete it very quickly, and it still feels as satisfying as the bigger items. Plus, the fact it's on your wrist, it feels more intimate than a secondary item you hold and scan things. Like holding everything together feels quite a bit more intimate than the other toy lines. And also, I want to make a point. I recommend trying to find Ultraman Taiga and supporting the show because there's one specific reason. Subbed in English, Ultraman Taiga, I have yet to find. I've found episode 0. I haven't found anything else from them. There's Indonesian subs available on YouTube, and countless people have uploaded the Indonesian subtitles, but I don't speak Indonesian, unfortunately. I don't know. It might be a complicated language, but unfortunately I don't speak that language. I speak a tiny bit of Japanese and predominantly English. So, and I think I know the main reason behind this is because it was either during the production or the show or afterwards. The company that owns Ultraman, Subaru, I forget how to pronounce their name. Let me see if it's not even if it's anywhere in English here. Oh yeah, Subaraya. Tsuburaya. You can see they had a legal dispute with another company over the rights to Ultraman, and they did end up winning, which is why we're getting Ultraman Z, whatever, however you want to pronounce it, subtitled in English, concurrent with its release. So like when it's airing in Japan, it airs on YouTube for free with English subtitles. That's because they won the law dispute, whatever. The lawsuit. Was it a lawsuit or is it just a legal dispute? But I think that's why Taiga kind of suffered from it. Because it's kind of, I think they put all their focus into that, so they couldn't really put as much focus into, say, promotion or things like that for Ultraman Taiga. So, like, Taiga kind of got caught between Rube, which got a lot of promotion, and I'm still kind of trying to watch, but it's kind of hard. I'm watching an episode or two at a time, and it's not exactly the one I want to return to the most. Although I do recommend it if it is a bit cheesier, especially the villain, how cheesy he is. But I still recommend any season of Ultraman to somebody who wants to watch. I haven't found one that I wouldn't recommend. I want to watch Taiga. I want to know the characters. I want to know their journey. And I have their toy. And like Jeed and Orb were freaking awesome, and Zed is being genuinely, really freaking enjoyable and actually genuinely funny at points. So like currently watching that, but Taiga falls in between that. So he's kind of, I don't want to say the forgotten season of the new generation because I haven't been able to find much of uh, Ginga or X in English. I found like Ginga got 2 seasons. So Ginga's story I can find in English subtitles. But I want to watch season 1 of Ginga, and I can only find like episode 1 in English subtitles. And X is kind of harder because I've also only found 1 episode. But I think we do need to support the Taiga toy line so it could get the what it's due. I think it deserves better than what it's gotten as the sort of forgotten Ultraman. Because from what I've seen, there's no mention of Taiga anywhere. Like I've watched the special, I think was before Taiga, the new generation movie that featured everyone up to Taiga. Didn't even have a cameo from Taiga, like promoting his upcoming show because I think it was probably aired before Taiga. It had his villain Tragear, but I think he needs more support than he has right now. Because the grandson of an Ultra is a neat concept. It's the first one it's happened yet. So I know I've been rambling. I know you came here for a toy review. I'm not sorry. I love Ultraman that much to just have that much exposition dump. I was a little worried about at first about having to collect like 3 different gimmicks, like keys, uh, bracelets, and rings. But as soon as I realized, oh, they're basically all together. Like the rings and the bracelets are together. Like you buy a package, you'll buy 2 bracelets and a ring. I was like, okay, this is gonna be like So simple to collect, and I've seen pretty much every uh, item available to buy except for like the one of his upgrade items. So it's definitely a toy line that's really not gotten over well, unfortunately. Like it's not the out of stock everything that Zed is or freaking Jeet or Orb because nobody's selling the Orb cards anymore, especially the sets you needed for the fusion scene in the show. Like it's so hard to find, but I am absolutely rambling. This toy, recommend. Ultraman fan, pick it up. Not in if you're just a casual looking to get in. I think this is a good start, and then you can explore the bigger toy lines afterwards. But, yep. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Until next time, keep it weird. Bye.